Hello everybody, welcome to the webinar. We're going to be getting started here in just a moment. We're just waiting for any stragglers to file in because we have been filling to capacity for each webinar. That's 250 people twice a day, pretty darn cool. Which means that those who are already involved are obviously excited enough to ensure that you're here if this is your first time to watch this. And they want you to see this incredible company. And folks, what you're going to see, it's going to get just a little complicated, but I want you to pay attention, try to turn off all the distractions that you have, because you likely have not seen anything like this in the past. If you've been looking for opportunities, like most of you probably have for any length of time, you've seen the stuff that is, hey, buy this, and then I'll teach you how to sell this. And if you've participated in those, I can say with pretty strong confidence, you didn't succeed. And don't feel bad, because almost everybody doesn't. Regardless of what your sponsor was telling you, their failure rate is over 90%, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But more importantly, let's, like I said, we're going to give it just a little bit, waiting for the stragglers, but let's cover the format that we're going to have here. If you look below, underneath where it says TelexFree Trainer, we'll show you exactly how this was done. There is a space. If you have any questions, and I'm sure you're going to have questions, type them in there. I will get to, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and I will get to as many of those questions as possible, but more importantly, any that I don't get to during the webinar will be answered via email. So all of your questions will be answered. Please do not hesitate to ask. And then also on the right side of your screen as you're looking at it, there's going to be a couple of polls pop up throughout the webinar, because I do want your feedback on some things. Kind of get an idea of what you're thinking and get your opinion on a couple of things. So when those do pop up, I'll let you know, because I have to click a little button to activate them, but I'll let you know that they're there. And please do participate in that, because I really am interested in your opinion on these. But let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who just joined, please ask any questions that you have right on the bottom of your screen there. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and I'll get to as many of those as possible. But what you're looking at on your screen right now seems pretty outlandish, doesn't it? Is it possible to join an opportunity starting with under $500 and generate a $17,000 annual income? Absolutely. Under $1,500 and generate an $80,000 annual income? Absolutely. And under $15,000 and generate over $800,000 annual income? Absolutely, folks. And we're going to show you exactly how that is. All of that can be done within a year, and I can't stress this enough, that's without sponsoring or selling. Okay? And we're going to cover all that and talk about how that's done. If you saw the little cartoon as you were before you watched the webinar, that's Mary is the one that started at under 500, didn't she? And Mike at under 1,500, and Jim and Ann at right around 15,000. Well, this is what can happen to them in under a year, and we're going to talk about that. But let's cover a few things first. The company that you're about to see, folks, created $23 million earners in less than a year after they established the pay plan, which you're about to see. Not only that, and that's an incredibly impressive thing. That's never been done in the history of home-based businesses. But more importantly and more impressively, I think, is they established a pay plan which ensures everyone gets paid. No sponsoring required, no selling of pills, juices, digital goods, no phone calls, no learning the latest, greatest marketing techniques, no hoping, waiting, and praying for spill from your guru, no learning the latest hot investment schemes. Folks, it means that you get paid. And that is so incredibly vital. Now, my name is Scott, and I'm going to be your host. Now, I've been marketing full-time online since the economic crash of '08, and I know that may not sound like 20, 30 years like some people say, but in that time, I was a top producer in an entire industry, as well as numerous programs. And I've sponsored over 7,000 people into opportunities in the past 5 years. I've been among the top internet marketers, and all that's really cool, but here is what is most important. I used this type of pay plan model to earn over $500,000 in a year, but more importantly than that, 100% of those that join me profit, period. Now, that's very important because, I alluded to this before, there's a major problem in the home-based business industry. And that is, and folks, this is a historical fact, it is irrefutable, 95 to 99.5% of the people who join opportunities fail. Period. That means virtually everyone that joins loses. And unfortunately, up until now, up until the company and the pay plan you're about to see, that meant that people like myself were the only ones winning. And God, that's got to stop, doesn't it? I don't care if you're talking to someone who says they've got a system, co-ops, unbelievable training that they'll market for you, they'll give you traffic, they'll pay for your ads, they'll fly out and do it for you, they'll fly you out and do it, whatever. It doesn't matter. It can't change. Folks, they aren't going to change. That's actually probably 50 plus years of history. And it's not even just the home-based business in it. It's any sales. If your income is dependent upon selling or sponsoring, your failure rate's over 95%, whether it's even insurance sales, automotive sales, real estate, home improvement. Any commission sales has that same metric. Now, I want you to think about this as you're thinking about the people who claim, I saw an ad on Yahoo yesterday. Guy claiming that his little mail this thing out and people are going to send you stuff has a 93% success rate. You know the funny thing though, the only person I see advertising that system is him. So that's a little weird, but folks, whatever they're saying, they're not going to change. Don't you think those industries, those are huge industries, would kill to improve that 95% plus failure rate? I mean, that means they've got a revolving door of reps in and out. And if you've done so much as a introductory business management course, you've heard the number. The average cost for a company to hire a new person, get them out, get them trained and out, is $800 to $8,500. You think some bozo like me at home in his bathrobe is going to do what Allstate hasn't been able to do? MetLife, State Farm, GM, Ford, Chrysler, all of the real estate companies. You don't think, they've got hundreds. Some of them have been in business over 100 years. They haven't been able to figure it out yet. And they would kill to do that. So what's the solution? Well, you're about to learn of a company that pays everyone that participates, period. That means we go from over 95% failure to 100% success rate. Because we know if your income is dependent on sponsoring or selling, you are going to fail. And I want to ask that you start earning. And with that, I challenge everyone, especially the guy with the, mail this out and people are going to, I challenge all these gurus who are marketing anything that requires sponsoring and selling to stop. Stop doing that because you know with 100% certainty that close to 100% of the people who join you are not going to make money. They know that. They know it better than anyone else. Folks, what you're about to see, everyone is paid weekly, period. And that means you. And we need to stop here for a second because I need you to appreciate this. This isn't an if come maybe. This isn't a you make money if you join a co-op that works. This isn't you make money if you get spilled from your sponsor. This isn't you make money if you get to. There is no if here, folks. You join this program today, you will begin making money next week, period. Everyone's paid. And I want you to think about what that will mean to you to finally profit with a home-based business, to know that you are going to make money, period. Think about that for a second. Because every single person who joins gets paid. And again, that means you get paid. And we're going to have to, I swear this is the last stop sign, but I've got to make sure, I can't stress this enough. If you're watching this webinar, if you join this program, whoever sent you here knows, like they know that if you join this program today, you start making money next week. It's that simple. So look in the mirror. That person looking back at you. This isn't everyone but you. This is you get paid. Now, I know it's a little hard to believe because we've all, had these opportunities that we just thought were the nextest, bestest. Well, folks, the problem with them is your income was dependent on sponsoring and selling. It isn't anymore. The name of this company is TelexFree. And let's talk about them. What are they doing? How do we know that they are stable and that they're going to be around? Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about some of their alliances. Who's paying attention to them? What is it that they're doing? Well, for one thing, they're in a joint venture with a major, and by major I mean the largest hotel chain in the world, to build 500 hotels by the year 2016. Now, it's in Brazil ahead of the World Cup and the Olympics. Now, that's not a if-come-maybe pipe dream. The first of those have actually completed and opened in November of 2012. Now, they've been in business for 13 years, and actually, they have been marketing the technology, because we're going to talk, about their product, and they've been marketing that product for 13 years, over 13 years. They, however, didn't start allowing people to a way to profit with the company, with the pay plan that you're about to see, until January of 2012. But you want to know something incredible? From January of 2012 to December 1st of that same year, close to 400,000 reps joined, and that was all outside of the U.S. They just opened in November of 2012, allowing people in the U.S. to participate. The last number that I heard is there's less than 2,000 reps in the USA. Now, folks, that is huge. You're not just looking at a ground floor opportunity. I mean, there's probably a few thousand reps in the country that are involved in this. You're not a ground floor opportunity. You're in the basement. We're still working to get to ground floor opportunity, but with a company that who's interested, who's taking a look at this? Well, the president of Google is excited and impressed enough with TelexFree to participate in their product launch. That's pretty cool, don't you think? I mean, Google, they effectively own the internet, don't they? And they are participating in the product launch for TelexFree. Folks, you've got to appreciate what you're looking at here. Now, let's go a little bit more into that. How do 400 or close to 500,000 people join a company in a year? Well, we all know what attracts people, don't we? I mean, we join a company opportunity to make money. Now, there's a problem there, though. And you just got your first poll asking if you've ever joined an opportunity and not made money. We'll get to that. It's going to take about a minute, but let's not wait for that. We all know why we've all quit opportunities, don't we? And it's simple. It's because we put in time and effort and don't get paid. And folks, people expect if they put in time, effort, energy, their hopes and dreams into something, they expect to be compensated for it. Well, what happens? We've talked about the over 95% failure rate. Well, the reason people join an opportunity and don't make money is what I've talked about. That's selling and sponsoring, because, folks, you don't have control over the sale. You don't have 100% control over your income at that point. And because of that, people feel like their financial life depends on that yes. We just got the poll results back. 91% have had that happen. The other 9% are saying they haven't had that happen, but actually they probably haven't ever joined a business. So that's huge. That means 100% have either joined and not made money or never tried a business before. But folks, think about it. If your financial life depends on someone saying yes, you hear no 2 or 3 times and you're done. You're out for the count. And that's why people fail and they go from opportunity to opportunity and nothing is going to work for them. Well, I want you to think about joining a business that pays you for the work you do even if no one joins. And that's exactly what TelexFree is going to do. It's an opportunity, and this is brilliant, folks. You get paid to advertise. Okay, so you've got a base to build on, and then you get paid more if the product or service does sell or people do join you. It's brilliant. And honestly, it's not even that groundbreaking, is it? Well, let's talk about exactly what's going on here. You remember that cartoon coming in? We talked about Mary, Mike, and Jim and Ann. Well, they all started as a partner at $50. Okay? Mary then purchased a contract, remember that, for $289, and it says that if she places an ad, and it's all free to post the ads, and we provide all that, her contract states that for doing that, the least she's going to make is $20 a week, which works out to a little under $100 a month and over $1,000 a year. And she can purchase as many of those contracts as she desires. Now, this is what can happen here, folks. She purchased that contract at the entry level of $289. Within 1 year, she can be making over $17,000 a year and never sponsor a soul or sell a thing. And TelexFree Trainer is going to show you exactly how that was done. Now, Mike, remember him from the cartoon? He purchased a contract for $13.75. He places 5 ads a day. And his contract states that for doing that, the least he can make is a little under $450 a month. And again, he can purchase as many contracts as he wants, which could mean that within a year, he's making close to $80 or over $80,000 a year without ever sponsoring or selling. And again, TelexFree Trainer is going to show you exactly how that was done. Remember Jim and Ann from that cartoon? Well, they purchased pretty substantial, a little over $15,000, and they place 11 ads a day. Contract states that for doing that, the least they can ever make is $1,100 a week, which works out to close to $60,000 a year. And because they can purchase as many contracts as they want, folks, even if no one joins them and they never sell anything, TelexFree Trainer can show you exactly how to build that to over $800,000 a year. Now, let's talk about how all that's happening. It just like an advertising agency is paid to place ads, the contracts are paying us to be TelexFree's advertising agency. And obviously, like I've said, there's no limit to the number of contracts. Now, this isn't that groundbreaking, is what I had started to say, because think about it. Call an advertising agency. Tell them you want them to work for you, advertise for you, get the word out, and you'll pay them if you like their results. Well, they're going to laugh at you and then hang up on you. Well, isn't that what the home-based business industry has been doing to us for close to 50 years or over 50 years? Which is why there's such a failure rate. TelexFree changes that. Now, they're a US-based company based right here in the United States in Massachusetts. The founder is James Merrill. And folks, it's simple. He feels that people should be compensated for their efforts. And there's 2 ways that works. One, and we're going to spend most of our time, we've already started talking about individual earnings that have nothing to do with sponsoring or selling. It is, let's look at that as your base to build, because then there are group earnings when people do join you. Now, what is it that we're talking about? TelexFree is a technology which allows you to communicate to over 40 countries and growing. Now, what that means, you're about to get it, let me click, there we go, you got another poll asking if you know anyone that lives outside the country you live in. Because folks, what TelexFree is international, it's a prepaid service for $49.90, and it allows you international, unlimited calling, and that's to or from any cell phone or landline. Unlimited file sharing online, video conferencing, screen sharing. It's kind of like, imagine taking Skype, Vonage, Magic Jack, and unlimited cell phone international calling, rolling it all into one package that you can use from any computer, any cell phone, any landline. That's kind of what TelexFree is. And again, we place ads about this software, and it allows you, it's currently 40 countries that it's always going to be growing. we are paid to place ads about the software. Now, there we go. There's our results. And it's about it's close to 90% of you know people who live outside the country you live in, which is huge. You know people then who could use the service. And if you don't, you probably know people in the military who have loved ones overseas. Folks, this is a very vital service to anyone who knows or is related to people who live outside their current country. Now, but this is what we're all here for, isn't it? How do you start making money like now? Well, Mary, Mike, and Jim and Ann, like I said, they all started as a partner for $50. And what does the partner do? Well, there's no monthly cost. There's no monthly recurrings on anything with TelexFree. As a partner, you're able to make a 10% commission. So you're paid $4.99 when someone purchases the service for $49.90, and then residual every month when they renew. And most people do. If you start using an international service, you're probably going to continue doing so. But would you rather make a 90% commission? I know I would. And would you like to make money every week, even if you don't make a sale that week? Or how about if you don't make a sale ever? Well, let's talk about that. Simply buy an annual contract, just like we've been talking about. Now, we'll go back to Mary. Mary started at what's called an Ad Central, and again, that's $2.89. That gives her 10 TelexFree packages in her store. So she places an ad every day. The ads are all written. You just copy and paste them on sites that we provide. And when people buy from you, you make that 90% commission that I was talking about, $44.91 on a $49.90 sale. But that's not what we've really been talking about, is it? What we've been talking about is being paid for placing the ads. And the way that works is Mary gets a free retail package each week in her store as compensation. Sell it, and again, she makes 90%, but if she doesn't sell it, never sells a single one, the company buys it back for $20. Folks, you're assured of $87 every month. So Mary knows that for a year, she's going to make at least $1,000 minimum earnings. That brings us to Mike. Remember him? Well, what he did was started as an Ad Central family, again for $13.75. That's basically 5 times what Mary did as the Ad Central, so he places 5 ads a day. So at the end of the week, TelexFree is going to give him 5 free packages. Sells them, makes 90%. But that's not what we're talking about. Don't sell them, and the company's going to buy them back. Folks, that's close to $450 a month or $5,200 a year. Now, I want to point something out here. That $450, according to our U.S. government, that was enough to avoid over 90% of all of the personal bankruptcies filed in the United States last year. So that's not chump change. But we've already talked about what that can build to, because this is just minimum earnings. Which brings us to Jim and Ann. What they did was started at a team builder. They basically started an Ad Central family and then purchased 10 additional Ad Central families. Now you can get there by doing what Jim and Ann did, or by starting as an Ad Central family and 10 people purchase them under you. However you do it, you only then place 1 ad per Ad Central family, sell back the retail packages if no one purchases from you, and the minimum you can make is close to $60,000 a year, plus you participate in a 2% company-wide revenue share. Minimum earnings. Can't stress that enough. Now, just as an aside, the team builder is an incredible, that's how I started, quite honestly, but our team figured out some better ways to structure, and TelexFree Trainer will show you actually a more lucrative structure than Team Builder. Little less outlay with a higher income. And unfortunately, it's only available after joining on our team and gaining access to TelexFreeTrainer.com. But folks, I've just shown you how you decide how much you want to make from $86 a week to $60,000 a year to $60,000 a month. And so far, you've got to realize all of this, everything that we've talked about thus far, is without sponsoring, without selling, without phone calls, not learning marketing techniques, not hoping for spill, no learning the latest investment schemes, none of that. Now, I know I keep saying you can buy additional contracts, but I know everyone has limits. So, fastest way to really explode your earnings is by allowing others to join you. So let's talk about that. Group earnings by people joining your group. And folks, I know we've talked about everyone, it's hard for a lot of people to sponsor, but that's because as soon as people know you're talking about multi-level marketing, they run from you as if from a fire. Because everyone knows, I think intrinsically, intuitively, we know that 99% failure rate. It's like it's in our DNA. Well, folks, that's because sponsoring and selling up until you watching this video has been required. Since it isn't, since you can tell someone, I can show you how you're going to definitely get paid, and let's build from there. That changes everything, doesn't it? So what happens? Well, here's you, and when someone joins you as an Ad Central, you make 20 bucks. That's kind of cool. Now, the most popular place that people join is the Ad Central family, and for that, you make $100. That's even cooler. But let's talk about what happens when more people start to join you. The company, as soon as you join, they put you on top of your own little binary. Okay? And as soon as the computer sees that you've got an Ad Central on your right and an Ad Central on your left, as well as one retail customer, and that can be anyone. That can be your aunt. That could be you, that could be your neighbor. As soon as they see left, right, and a retail customer, you get an additional, what's called a cycle bonus. Every time from that point on that the computer sees left, right, you make an additional $20. Now, what's key there is every time. So that means if Rita brings in Bill and Paula brings in Phil, you just cycled and get an additional $20. And folks, that's to infinity, whether it's on your second level, fifth level, 200th level, or 2000th level. Every time the computer sees left, right, you get $20. That is massive, but not as massive as the Ad Central family, because every time the computer sees left, right, and again, you've got that retail customer, you get a total of an $80 cycle bonus. And again, it's every time. So if Rita, oops, forgot your $80. Sorry about that. So that means if Rita brings in Bill and Paula brings in Phil, it's your left, your right, you make 80 bucks. And folks, the pay plan is going to allow you to make up to $15,000 per day on just this one aspect of the pay plan. And you also earn 5 levels deep on those retail packages. But this is what's really cool. Now, it's vital that you understand something here. You make 2% on the ad placement earnings 6 levels deep. Now, folks, you got to realize something. I know 2% doesn't sound like a lot. As a matter of fact, I was talking to an individual about this pay plan, and on these webinars, I always refer to him as Bill. But he said, you know what, I don't do anything for 2%. I've got a company that will pay me 100% check match on everybody under me. Well, that's really cool until you consider that 99% failure rate. Sure, the company's going to offer you 100% check match because they know that 99.9% of the people under you are going to have no check. So you're getting 100% of nothing. Well, folks, everyone under you has the same assurance that you do. They are getting paid. 2% of something beats the crud out of 100% of nothing. So don't let's look at the raw figures. Don't be a Bill. Don't think 100%, that's got to be great. No, 100% of nothing is nothing. 2% of something can be huge, and let me show you how huge. You know that old 5 who get 5 who get 5? Well, let's just use that as an example. Okay? Now, this is simply an example. What happens if you do that 5 who gets 5, 6 levels deep, folks? just 2% can be close to $40,000 a week. Now, speaking of those cycles, that left, right, $20, left, right, $80, when your organization gets to the size that you're doing that 22 times a day for 20 days, you're deposited in an additional profit pool, which is 1% of the volume of the company. Now, we already talked about the team builder, and that you share 2% if you get to the team builder within your first 60 days, and you can make up to close to $40,000 a year just on that. Now, when I mentioned the allegiance and the partnership with the hotel chain, that's Best Western, joint venture to build 500 hotels. And folks, those aren't just going to be 500 Best Western hotels. What they are going to say on them is Best Western by TelexFree. That's all in Brazil, again, ahead of the World Cup and the Olympics. But I don't just point this out to point out the stability and the vision of TelexFree. But beginning in October, TelexFree affiliates are going to have the opportunity to profit on this for the next 10 years. And folks, that can be generational income. Now, I realize it's decision time here. Now, I know some of you have questions. We're going to get to as many of those as we can. But after this is over, contact whoever got you here. You're going to have questions for them as well, I'm sure. But while you're talking to them, ask them how it was that Mary's now making over $300 a week. And how is it that Mike's now over $1,500 per week, and Jim and Ann, $15 grand a week, all without sponsoring or selling. Folks, get started. Get started today. Now, let's get to these questions and answers, questions, and I'll do the answers. Let me see. Let's start with Lily. What is the potential for spillover here? Well, Lily, quite simply, everyone is entered in their own binary. This is growing exponentially because everyone's assured of being paid. So sponsoring people is a pretty simple task. So everyone, I've usually never gotten spill in a company because I kind of outrun it. Even I've gotten spill. All of my people who have joined under me have. And again, this is just starting. You're getting involved in something that's going to dwarf Amway, and you're getting involved in it in the very infant stages of it. This company has vision that you wouldn't believe. I mean, when you've got Google, the president of Google, participating in a product launch, I don't think that's ever happened. I know 23 millionaires have never been created by a company in a year, their first year of a pay plan. Heck, Microsoft didn't even do that. Apple didn't do that. So let's see. Randy, it's separate income piece for placing my ads. As long as I place my ad, I am guaranteed daily, monthly. And if I happen to sponsor, that's exactly correct, Randy. You are being paid, and that's why I refer to it as a base on which to build. You are going to be paid for placing your ad, period. There's no way you won't unless you don't place your ad. Now, if you build on that, you also are going to make money from sponsoring and overrides and all that neat stuff that every other company offers. But what is happening here is that you have a base on which to build, which changes the entire dynamic. Hal is asking, I heard there's an automated piece of software. You know how there are companies that offer that. However, and TelexFree trainers, we're happy to inform you of those, which is in TelexFree Trainer. Personally, I mean, it takes 5 minutes. We provide you the sites on which to do it yourself, and it's literally 5 minutes a day. And if you're ever in a position that you're not able to place them out of town, out away from the computer, someone in your upline will. There's almost no time that I'm not doing someone's ads for some reason. So it's always, I always recommend people taking that responsibility on themselves because it also keeps you engaged in the business. It keeps you seeing that you're making money. Julie would like to know how much she can make if she never sponsors anyone. Well, Julie, Just using Mary's example, you can start out making a little over $1,000 a year at even the lowest level, and TelexFree Trainer will show you how to build that just the lowest level without ever coming out of pocket again and without ever sponsoring anyone. Turn that into $17,000 a year. Actually, it's more than that, but let's just use that number as a guideline. So it's virtually up to you how big you want to build it, how quickly you want to build it, but you're assured an income. And Jeremiah, is the Opportunity International? Absolutely. The only delay in any country was a delay in the U.S., and that was for regulatory reasons, which actually brings us to Rachel's question, why did the company launch in Brazil if it's truly a U.S.-based company? And that's a great question, Rachel, but the answer is even better. Mr. Merrill, we've all seen these companies from A to Z launch and then hope and pray that their attorneys can keep the regulators off of them. Well, that's not a real good business model, is it? And it hasn't worked out very well for a lot of companies. Well, Mr. Merrill realizes that's not a good business model, so he had all of his ducks in a row, if you will, prior to opening up operations to the U.S. The green light was given by his attorneys, by our corporate counsels, who said, okay, we're good with the regulators, all the hoops have been jumped through, the T's have been crossed, the I's have been dotted, you're good to go in the U.S. That's when we launched in the U.S. So it was a get the green light from the attorneys rather than hope the attorneys can keep the dogs off our trail, so to speak. And Lauren would like to know if she ever gets paid anything if people who aren't personally sponsored fall under her in her matrix. And absolutely, yes, you do. Let me see. Bill is curious about, and he would like to point out that this isn't the Bill in the video, or in the presentation, but he's curious if about my trip to Boston and whether I actually truly met a guy making over $200,000 a week. Yes, actually, I met the company president, vice president, CEO, 3 top earners, one of which was the top earner, San, who is making, at that time was making over $200,000 a week. I'm sure he's substantially more than that now, as that's been a couple of months. Troy would like to know what my thoughts are on the product. And Troy, I've never been a product guy, but this also is available in TelexFree Trainer. I've been able to retail the program by giving it away with a flyer that I designed, and that's all covered in TelexFree Trainer, and you will find that it is also a great recruiting tool. I think that the product is incredible, and if you're in the U.S., you're in an immigrant nation. If you're in any other country, well, I'm sure there's international movement there as well. So everyone knows people who have connections outside of the country they live in, and of course, people would love to stay in contact with them if it isn't going to bankrupt them. Well, here's their chance. Last question. Let's wrap this up. Steve would like to know how long my workday is with TelexFree. And Steve, that's another great question. My workday, because I do 2 webinars a day, I've got a couple of hours. I think what you're probably referring to is the ad placement, and that's 5-10 minutes at the max. My video, where it literally shows you from soup to nuts my ad placement day, is a 15-minute video, but I'm explaining it, and saying what I'm doing the whole way through. So when I'm not doing that, 5 minutes a day. Folks, get involved with whoever got you here. Get rolling. Get involved with TelexFree Trainer. You'll have access to all of our team leaders, even a chat feature to talk with other people on our team, share ideas, bounce things off of. Amazing support. 2 webinars a day for you to send people to. We are here dedicated to making sure you're able to build this to the kind of levels that I've built it to and that others on our team have built to. I look forward to working with you. Get involved today. This will change your life. Have a great day.